Welcome to the greatest sports show in the world. Good week, everybody. How's everyone doing? I hope everyone is having a great week. It's Tuesday. We got rid of Monday, so now we're on. Trish, Kara, what's going on?
Hi.
Hey, ready to have a beer with all of our weirdos on live.
Beer. I'm water because I'm
Or
healthy.
water.
That's because I'm an athlete in peak physical form. Peak physical shape. I'm at the top of my game. You got to stay hydrated. It's hard playing video game hockey. Well, you got to tell yourself something, don't you?
You know what you do.
You know, I mean, you don't have to tell yourself.
Usually mine is like, come on, get up, stop crying. But you know, we all have our own.
No, mine's
Everyone's
just like
got an inner monologue.
Yeah, mine is you're an athlete.
In the Facebook group so much, you know.
Oh no!
Yeah, you got some heat in there. We'll get to that
for sure. Hey, before we get started here, you know we have a new show here on the BLPA. I guess it's the BLPA podcast network now, I suppose. But we got Tindy Talk. Don't ever say that Nick hates goalies because Nick brought on a show all about goalies, and I might even have listened to it. All right, so I don't hate goalies. 2021's the year of the goalies, so go check out our new podcast, Tindy Talk. You can find it on iTunes or Apple Podcasts. You can find it on Spotify. Anywhere you find your podcast, just go check it out. It's called Tindy Talk. It's a really good show. He has a different interview every week. Good stuff. I mean, they talk about, stuff goalies talk about. So if you think goalies are weird, but you're not sure what goalies talk about, go check out that show. And I guarantee you they are weird, but you can find out what
I was going to say, you don't have to listen to the show to know that goalies are weird, but
you can get inside the mind. Hey, if you want to learn how to score, you go listen to this podcast. You can get right inside the old mind. Give them the old mind fuck next time you're on the ice.
Unagi. Anybody that watches Friends, you'll understand.
Hey, what's
Thank
up,
you, Trish?
What's up, Mace? What's going on? All right. Hey, Trish, why don't you go ahead and tell them about some social media and some such?
You can find us, BLPA Big Show, everywhere. You should follow us, like all of us. Cara DeBella everywhere, right? You got Nicker Jones on Twitter, Nicker Jones on Instagram as well. And you can find me at Trish Dangle on Twitter. Don't find me on Instagram. I'm private. You don't need to see pictures of my dog. That's just for me and my friends to see. But also subscribe to this podcast wherever you get your podcast. Rate, review, and subscribe. Give us those 5-star Nick ratings, those Uber ratings that we want so bad. Tell us how handsome and hilarious we are.
Mm-hmm.
All those great things.
Hey, and let me just go ahead and stop you real quick. I'm not Nicker Jones on Instagram. I'm the Nicker Jones because some fucking joker jumped on there and he's been inactive since 2012, and so I can't get Nicker. I'm Nicker Jones everywhere but that. But it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
We'll start a GoFundMe to buy that name.
I've messaged the guy. And he nothing. So I don't know what to do. Just lost.
I think we should really take this seriously and hold a pity party.
Well, I mean, we don't need,
and all show our condolences.
We don't really need to have a pity party, but I think maybe maybe now is the time.
Pour some out.
Hey, maybe now's the time just to change it to all like Nikki Kamish or something like that instead of Nicker Jones. But I've had Nicker Jones since I got AOL my senior year in high school, so I've been Nicker Jones for that long. So it's kind of
it's time to rebrand, I think.
Okay, but let me just start a new Twitter account so I can keep my old one just in case I ever want it back. I don't just want to like give up all this years of hard work and like Nicker Jones at Gmail, Nicker Jones at Yahoo, all the Nicker Jones places, so I don't know. It's just kind of one of those things.
Sounds like you just need to like sit down and put some real thought into this and come up with a solution that's going to satisfy.
Okay, yeah.
You need to Marie Kondo your Nicker Jones accounts and see if they give you joy.
Well, they do give me joy. I wish I had Nicker Jones on Instagram, but I don't.
Okay, well, we'll start a campaign.
Let's find this guy. Like I've literally went through and messaged like his followers and have been like, hey, this guy? Like I just,
of course you did.
Yeah, that is next level.
Yeah. Do you know this guy? I want this account.
So he doesn't post a thing.
He hasn't posted anything since 2012. Like it's like, come on. Like I know you're not using it. Look him up. All right, but anyway.
We're both about to check him out.
All right, hey,
yeah, we are.
Okay, while you guys are checking out the fake Nicker Jones on Instagram, we got a new sponsor. Potentially. Actually, it's 100% sure, but we're going to get this started next Wednesday. We're going to release the information, so I'm super stoked about it. He's sponsoring the BLPA Big Show, also going to sponsor the BLPA magazine, so super, super stoked about that. Stay tuned for more news on that, but for other sponsors, for all you beer leaguers that aren't smart, which is most of us, but want to be smart, what you got to do is you got to read, all right? And you don't even have to really read. You can just listen to books on audio, because I know half of you can't read. So if you go over to Audible trial / the BLPA, you get 1 free month, 1 free book. It can even be a hockey book. There's tons of hockey books on there. You get it for free. You sign up. You can connect it with your Amazon account. No big deal. They kick back a little money to the show. So go check them out. audibletrial.com / the BLPA. And go buy some merch over at beerleagueplayers.com. We got to talk about Patreon, because I got to mention our Patreon, our Beer League gods. If you want to support the show, patreon.com / beerleagueinc. But Minchie and Chris Nall, those are our boys. They're at the highest level. They're Beer League gods. We love you guys. You make things happen. If you want to support us, all the money we're getting every month now through Patreon, we're putting it towards this free military draft experience. Okay. Free draft experience military appreciation tournament, where we have basically, we've done the selections and everything, but we're bringing out 112. Is that the math? 14 times 8 is going to, 112 military folks. It could be active duty, retired, whatever. And they're playing on our dime. We're paying for it. So we're trying to find sponsors and raise cash for that. That's what we're using the Patreon for. So it's going to be rad. So go check us out on Patreon. So
I think, cheers. I think that we should see how many beers we can shotgun while Nick does that spiel.
I think you could do
not because it's important to talk about, but I just feel like I have absolutely nothing to add, and so I'm like, what can I do? I'm like,
just make sound effects. I don't know what the big deal is here.
Just make fart noises.
Yeah.
The whole time you say
I was thinking sex noises, but okay.
Well, sex noises too.
You can do one, I'll do the other.
Wait, okay. What's like a sex noise? Like you're just doing moans? Like what would be a sex noise sound effect?
Well, you know that where people are like, oh fuck. Of course we're like live, and I'm totally just
get with the program. We're supposed to be professionals.
I know. I'm so sorry. No, when I was thinking sex noises, I was just gonna be like, moaning and shit. I don't know. Now it's like awkward.
Someone
on spot.
Hey, I haven't seen this one, but someone said sex noise episode from Letterkenny. I've stopped watching Letterkenny after the first 3 episodes because that's when it got unfunny. But that's just me.
We know.
I'm pointing it out to Uber Bust on Twitch. That's all I'm doing. But another person said, have we talked about the Sid the Kid backhand attempt? He says Svechnikov. A
lot of people call that the Michigan.
But it's the reverse Michigan. He did it on the backhand. Yeah. Because here's what Sid the Kid does. He takes what normal hockey players can do, and he goes fucking next level. That's why he's actually the great one. He's incredible. He's doing it in a time when goalies are fucking insanely good. They're not just going off the ice in between periods and smoking darts like they did back in the 80s, or chugging brews or taking shots. So it's a little harder to score goals and points in today's game. So Sid, probably the great one. Really, that's what I'm going to start calling him.
I need to stop. I used to talk so much shit about Crosby because he was like kind of a pansy on the ice, and that was hard to watch. But he is very skilled, and like listening to interviews with him, so much more respect for the guy. I would just wish he would have made the backhand.
Oh,
that would have been way sicker, but. Sicker, more sick. What is the?
Here's the only problem.
Pet grammar here.
Here's the only problem, and I hate saying this because it's one of my favorite cities to drive into, but the only knock on Crosby is that the city that he plays in is trash. Pittsburgh, trash. But they have the best. When you drive into that fucking city, I don't know if you've ever been to Pittsburgh, but you drive through a mountain. There's literally a hole in a mountain, and you drive through, and the city's just bam right there. The bridges, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. And there's the Andy Warhol Museum. My friend Char, she works there. Char works at the Warhol Museum. I've been through it 3 or 4 times. Every time I go to Pittsburgh, I go check out the museum because it's always different. But just, I've been tainted on the city of Pittsburgh. But that's the only negative thing. There's just some shitty people in Pittsburgh. Really shitty.
Did you get beat up in Pittsburgh?
No. I got beat up in Boston, and I love it. I love Boston. But
I was wondering if there was like a tour of you being beat up in different cities.
No. I mean, there's a few cities for sure where I've had my ass kicked. Boston, my home city, more than a few times. But other than that, it's not bad. I've learned to keep my mouth in check, unless I have friends with me.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
I might not be able to back you up in Omaha.
Well, I don't think I need.
No.
I don't think I need any backup in Omaha. I got Big Dad. I got old Pecky baby. I got the boys there. So all right. Listen. Speaking of Omaha, I'm glad you brought that up because we've got some tournaments coming up, and I'm super fucking stoked about them. And Big Dad even just said he knows what I'm talking about in Pittsburgh. He says he's got scumbag goalies. 100% Big Dad. 100% Pittsburgh, home of the scumbag. So drafts, Omaha, Ann Arbor, and the very first BLPA bash in Columbus, which we've sold out 3 times. We're 2 more teams away from selling it out 4 times, and I'm super stoked about it. What'd you think about the belt today, Trish? Did you see that bad boy?
Loved it. It reminded me. So one of my teams has a game belt, and I don't want to brag, but I got it this week for our game this week.
Humble brag. Don't want to
I
brag,
scored the
but I got
game-winning
this
goal in
one.
a shootout. So
What
whatever.
move did you use?
Oh yeah, you posted about that. I saw that.
I did. I was,
you.
I had to clip other live barn things for other people, and I was like, well, while I'm here, might as well get mine,
Hey, tell us about the shootout move. Like, what did you do? Was it a little forehand, backhand, Bardisi,
there is
or what?
no move.
Oh,
there was
okay.
pick a spot and hope it goes in. That's about it.
No, you did. You're a lefty, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you did a little like you're on your forehand. You went to backhand, back to forehand, and then shot it.
A little shimmy right there.
Yeah, but there's nothing.
That's
to
how you throw the
like,
goalies off.
I play with a lot of guys that have really sick moves, and I'm like, ugh. I usually don't volunteer myself, but I was feeling a little hot, so I was like, let's do it. I'll try. And lo and behold.
It doesn't matter what move you have. You fucking scored.
Hey, what's your move? What's your move, Carrie? You got a little shootout move?
Yeah, my move is the little head fake.
Ooh, a little
head fake followed by little forehand backhand. Fake.
So you're forehand backhand fake?
Yeah, so like I'll do like the head fake.
Yep.
And people probably can't hear me because I'm like, woo. But I'll do like the head fake, and then I like kind of like fake with my body a little bit more.
Yep.
And just to see what happens with the
just to
if they go down, then I can like rip it high. Well, I can rip it high, if things go
in
right.
In theory.
Plan.
Yeah, in theory.
It all just depends. I don't know.
Big Dad's calling you out for lying already.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
We got the Kara drinking game in the live chat where every time people think Kara's lying, they take
I'll drink
a drink
with you guys. So Nick, get me posted on every time people think I'm lying.
100% I will. Yeah, I don't have a shootout move because I don't get too many attempts, so I haven't got to craft one. I've got a move that I use that's worked 100% of the time once, and that's a pretty good one. But there's also the greatest thing about the draft experiences I find is whenever there's a tie and we have to go to a shootout, we don't just let the best players, we don't let the team say, all right, the ringers go. We do like a random number generator. So like we have, there's like 2 through 14. We just I put them in a random number generator. And before the game, I'm like, okay, these are the numbers that are going to shoot because like your draft round is the number on the back of your jersey. So if you were in the 3rd round, you're number 3, right? So it'll be like 3, 7, 11, and those will be the people that shoot. And I really like that because I found before we did it that it would just be the best players going every time. And I tried this one time and someone came to me and said, hey, listen, like I'm not a good hockey player. My team would never let me be in the shootout, but because of this, I got to take my first ever shootout attempt and I scored. And I was like, yeah, that's exactly why we do it. And that's, the cool thing about the drafts is like, okay, I'm going to say this as someone that's super competitive and I really like winning, but in theory, allegedly, winning isn't the main thing at the draft tournaments. Everyone makes a championship game, so you're either an A, a B, or a C final, so no big deal. So when you start talking about shootouts in the championship games, to be able to do something like that where it doesn't matter is pretty cool. But it doesn't matter, but it does matter to people that like to win. But that's not the main thing. The main thing is ripping beers and meeting new people from all over the world, really, that you want to play hockey with. So you guys should come to a draft experience. I know Trish is coming to Omaha. She's probably going to sign up for Ann Arbor. We're talking her into
We'll
it.
see.
We're trying to get Kara, even though there's rules against it. Rules are made to be broken, right, Kara? You just drive on down, come back, 2-week quarantine, no big deal. Just we're trying to get Kara to one soon. Hopefully by the end of the year you'll be at
as
one.
soon as like it's a thing. As soon as I'm allowed to, I'll come. Absolutely. That was one of the things I posted on Facebook. Like, what do you guys want us to talk about this week? That was one of the things that was brought up. Like, why are you not going to Ann Arbor? And I was like, COVID is why.
Yeah.
You can't cross the border.
Yeah, exactly.
I can
like,
cross.
If Nick can do it, you can. I think this was Big Daddy's. Like, if Nick can do it, you can.
Yeah, but
and I was like, I'm just gonna not say anything.
Yeah, Nick's got that big ass U.S. citizenship, buddy. That's how come I can get across.
That's right.
Yeah.
But I'm still I still have anxiety about traveling during this time because I don't want to get sick. I don't want to die. I know that the percentages of me dying pretty low, maybe a little higher because I'm diabetic, but I still have.
But of getting really sick, like I've had healthy friends that have gotten it, like healthy, really fit friends, and they're like, I was scared, like it was scary, it was really hard to breathe.
Yeah, and that's what I don't want. So like I even just decided like this first round, like I can't fly back and forth, because there's a 2-week quarantine, and now they've added even more rules. So I'm just gonna drive. Like I'm just gonna take my car. I'm going to drive from Calgary to Ann Arbor in the winter. No big deal. And then go to Omaha and then to Columbus and then see where we're kind of at by then. Maybe I'll be able to catch a vaccine in one of my travels. Just kind of keep up to date and be like, oh, I'm driving through North Dakota. Poke me with one of them vaccines, please. And maybe that'll work. But I have anxiety doing it. But it seems like we did pretty good last summer in terms of just keeping everyone distanced, everyone wearing your mask and doing that stuff. So hopefully we can get through it again without any sickness.
Are y'all masking up when you're playing?
I have. Okay. It's not comfortable. It's not fun.
No, I can imagine.
It's doable. A lot of people are requiring it. So it really just whatever the rink's at whenever we go, that's kind of what we have to go with. So
some masks are easier than others to play in. I have a Bauer mask that is super easy to play in. It doesn't suffocate me at all. I've heard good things about the CCM helmet mask, although the good things are that it's not close to your face, which is kind of defeating the purpose. But I mean, if you're the kind of person that just wants to follow the rules and be comfortable while doing it, that's a good option. But yeah, I've worn regular masks. I know people that skate in surgical masks, and it's not great because they get so wet and heavy.
So wet. I just went public skating with my nephews, and I was skating with them and pushing them around and stuff. And I was like, oh my God, this thing is fucking drenched. It was gross.
Well, even the Bauer and CCM ones that you wear on your face, they're thin. They do get wet. So at the tournaments, if I wanted to wear them every game, I'd have to have 5 different masks, which is fine. Which is fine. But I mean, some people do, some people don't. I get it. I'm not here to judge anyone. I just know, obviously I don't want other people to get sick, but mainly I don't want to get sick. So, I'll do what I can to do it. But at the same time, doing events like this and it's my living. So the choice is, do you pay the bills or do you not? Right. That's kind of where it is. So, luckily, they're saying, our listeners are on there saying Omaha doesn't require them in the rinks during hockey. So that's a good thing. We'll see how it goes. I might still wear one. It just kind of depends. I won't go Fauci and wear 2 at one time. That's for sure. But here's what's in Calgary. We can't play, but we've got a roadmap to allow us to play again. It's all based on hospitalizations and all that stuff. So we're thinking it's probably going to be another 12 to 16 weeks in terms of how everything falls. But here's what's getting me when we're going to actually talk about beer league tonight. It could be 16 weeks. It could be more. I run a team here in Calgary. Could be 16 weeks before we play. And I've already got my team messaging me and saying, hey, can we cut this guy on our team? And I'm like, what's going on? We're 16 weeks away. Why are we talking about this now? But it's just they're on it. They want this guy. They want Kevin gone. They want him off the team. And I'm not sure. I mean, he's not any good at hockey. I get it. I'm
Does
not any
Kevin
good.
listen to this?
I don't know. We'll find out. Kevin, if you're
Oh my
listening,
God.
Yeah,
sorry.
you'll find out real quick.
I guess this is the way we're going to cut him right here on the show. No. So here's the deal. Kevin's a really great guy. He always pays. He always shows up when he says he's going to, which is about 95% of the games. But he's not any good, and he's a fucking snap show. Like he's one of those people we were talking about where they can be really nice off the ice, but on the ice they're just fucking, and it's not even on the ice. It's once he comes in the fucking dressing room, it's like here's Kevin down here, and then like once Kevin hits the dressing room, you got Kevin up here, and it's like he tries to get into fights. He's always running his fucking mouth. As a matter of fact, one game I remember there was a dude on the other team and he was being a fucking dick, and he was just fucking yelling at us and just in general being a dick. He got kicked out of the game. He wouldn't leave. The guy's 10-year-old son, or maybe it been 10 to 13, somewhere in there. He was in the stands listening, and he came into our dressing room after the game. Like he knocked on the door and said, "Hey, I just want to apologize for my dad. You know, he had a rough week. He didn't mean to be a jerk to you guys." And we're like, okay. Kevin went the fuck off on this kid. He said, "Get your little fucking ass out of here. Don't ever fucking come in our dressing room, you piece of shit." And we're like, Kev, like the guy's coming to apologize. So that's just kind of the guy Kevin is on the ice. Off the ice, out of the dressing room, great guy. He's a great guy to drink beers with, but the team wants him cut. And I'm just kind of like, I don't know why we're doing it 16 weeks early. And two, I'm not sure.
He could be on Fight Line cut for us, and we'd all cut him later.
Yeah.
What I don't know, I just don't know. I don't know, like, one, how to approach it, because it's not like the guy, it's one of those guys that doesn't pay, or it's one of the guys that just doesn't bring beer, or he's a bad guy. Well, I guess he's a bad guy on the ice. But I don't know. I'm trying to wrap my head around this and figure it out, because you know, in a beer league team, I know, Carrie, you don't care about running a team. You don't run a team. You just show up and do your thing. But I know, Trish, we run a team, and it's hard to find guys that pay on time, show up all the time. And so it's kind of, I mean, what would you do here?
I have always dealt with this by like talking to the whole team and just figuring out what everybody's opinion is. If it's like everybody wants the dude gone, you have a conversation with him and say like, hey, maybe this isn't the best fit and you need to find another team, and maybe help him find another team. But like it never doesn't suck. We've cut goalies before because they had bad attitudes. Like, as a defense person, I'm not going to put up with a goalie with a bad attitude. I know I have my off games, but if you're going to sit there and yell at the defense all game and none of it's ever your fault, you're gone. Like, that's no fun to play with. But that's like, really, that's been the only time we've had to cut people or not invite people, is like if they make people uncomfortable on the team, I'm not going to invite them to play even if they want to. And goalies having a terrible attitude have been like the two top things for me.
Interesting. Like I said, this guy just they say that they don't like his attitude, but I think a lot of it is he's not very good. Like he probably has had 1 point in 3 years. Cool, whatever.
I mean, me too, but
scored a shootout winner.
Not a hothead for the most part.
And you know, I've had to cut a goalie before. Like I had 4 guys on our team once and the goalie was horrible. Like, he was bad. One of the worst goalies I've ever. But he was one of those goalies that he thought he was really good. And this was like a free agent.
No.
This was like a free agent team, right? And the first game, like, he came in, he got put with us, and he had like all these stickers on his helmet, like we see on football helmets. You know, they got the stickers like when you made a good play, and we're like Brendo, like what are these stickers? And he's like, okay, this one's for all the shutouts that I've had, and this one's for all the wins that I had. And we're like, that's a little strange. Well, I actually, after that first game, I think it might have been a sticker for every save he'd ever made in his life, because he didn't stop very many pucks. And so, like, we kept the free agent team together. We had a great locker room. And the next season, the guys were like, we got to get rid of Brendo. Like, he's not any good. And I was like, no, like, he pays as a goalie. Like, that's great, right? And they're like, but he's not any good. And I'm like, I'm playing on 5 teams right now. I don't really care about winning, but these guys did. And they're like, we got another goalie. He's good and he'll pay. I'm like, okay, cool. okay, cool. So I talked to Brendo. I'm like, dude, we're playing above your level right here, and so we just gotta let you go. Brendo wasn't happy. I did find him another team in the beginner division. The new goalie came. He said, I'm a fucking goalie. I'm not fucking paying. And I was like, I just had to refund Brendo out of my own pocket because your buddy said you were paying. He said, I'm not paying. And so that's where my love / not love so much relationship with goalies started, because I had to cut one and then I got hosed. But I don't know where to go. Like I don't like cutting people. I don't like telling people, oh, you can't come play with us, you're not good enough. One, because I'm not that great at hockey, but it's just, I don't know. It just seems like a shitty thing to cut a guy that pays, shows up.
How bad is he? Like, how bad?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, God, I mean, he's just not good, but he's not, he's not good. Like, he doesn't keep up with the play. It's not like he's at the other end of the ice while the play's in the complete opposite zone. Nothing like that. But he's the guy that, like, when there's people on the ice and they're skating up on a rush and they see him open, they're not going to pass to him. They just won't, because they know he won't catch it.
Okay. But is it like,
not going to get any better?
Playing 4 against 5, or is it like even worse than that because he makes it even worse than playing with one less person?
Okay, no, it's like you're on a penalty kill every time he's on the ice. So yeah, I get why they want him to be cut. I understand, and I'm with it. But I don't think someone should be cut. And I'm just like, okay, I know I'm running the team, but now I gotta go to the guy and say, hey, you're not good enough. Like, why won't the team do it, right? But like I said, I've had to cut the goalie before, so maybe I'll cut old Kevin too, and then maybe I'll start a service where anyone that wants their player cut, they come to us, and then we make that phone call. Because I think if he wasn't playing on my team, I'd have no problem cutting the guy. Like, if it was someone on your team, Kara, I'd call up. Mm-hmm. Who's someone on your team that sucks, Kara?
Me?
I call someone out right now, Kara.
Hey, so I'd call you. Bring. Answer your phone, Kara. Answer your phone.
Hello.
Hey, Kara, what's going on? How's it going? You having a good Tuesday?
Hey, sorry, who's this?
This is Nick from the Beer League Players Association, the commissioner, as a matter of fact. Look me up on Beer League DB.
Oh, I don't know what that is, because okay.
Okay, hey,
what's
listen.
Up?
Well, listen, I've got something to talk to you about. I've been talking with your team. I don't know why I'm doing this with my hand.
No, we're going. You can't. You got to keep it up there.
Okay.
You got to commit now.
Hey, I've been talking with your team, and it's just not working out. You've been cut.
What, they don't want me on their team anymore?
No, you've been cut. You've been relegated. They want you to go down to Division 3 from Division 1. It's just that time. Hey, it's not you, it's them.
Well, I would probably start bawling right now, but because it's not my team calling me and because it's you.
Exactly.
I'm actually feeling quite elated about this.
That's why we have the service. See? Exactly, Kara.
See? Boom, done.
Yeah,
that role play was like, that would
your
work out
feelings
really well.
aren't hurt, and I got to cut someone. I'm getting more practice at it. This is perfect.
You know what? Although that wasn't real at all, my feelings are still a little bit hurt.
Yeah.
I'm like, ooh, that's like actually horrible. I just really do not like. I don't. You
got demoted 2 divisions.
Yeah,
hey, Kara, I've got bad news for you. That was real. Oh. You've been cut.
We've been talking to Moff, and she wants you demoted.
Moffy, how could you? You guys are gonna hear from her.
All right.
No, no, I don't know if it's like just the type of hockey that I was brought up with, or maybe I'm like a nice Canadian or whatever, but I just feel like if you sign up for Beer League, you're not a fucking pro. So if there's somebody that's terrible on your team, you suck it up in the name of fucking sportsmanship and like team spirit, and you just play.
Hey,
I think played with caveat to that
guy when I was a kid. We had a guy on our team. His name was, we literally to his face, and he loved it because it was so funny, called him Offside Pete. Like, there was not, and we were kids, but there was not one time where we would be rushing and he wouldn't go offside. Like, every single fucking time. But like, it taught me a lot of patience as a kid. I don't know.
Yeah. And like the caveat to keeping someone on the team that's bad, because like who cares really in the grand scheme of things, is if they have a shitty attitude and they're like not a great person on the ice. Like, if you're embarrassed every single game to have them on your bench because of their attitude, like, get them out of there. And that's like, go somewhere else where you can work on your game and your attitude.
100%. I absolutely agree with that. If somebody's being an asshole, it's different than just being shitty.
I would,
Yeah.
two things to finish it up. It would be a lot easier for me if this guy wasn't like a great guy, like for parking lot beers. Like he's always there. He hangs out. He drinks beer. Two, it would be a lot easier for me if in the instance that I did cut him, that I didn't end up being the worst person on the team. Because right now I'm not the worst, right? Oh, Kev's got that title,
right.
you know? So
Selfish.
It's kind of
selfish.
Oh, what are they going to do next? Come to you and say, hey, Nick, can you cut yourself?
Well, hey, here's what I learned this a lot when I first started playing hockey. The first thing, the most important thing, you don't cut the guy that volunteers to run a team. You just don't, because he does all the work. He deals with the league. He deals with the other teams. He deals with everything. And so I learned that if I'm that guy, I'm never getting cut from a team. So that's why I run teams. But then I have to deal with cutting other people, which secretly I like. Secretly I like it.
Sign me up for that.
Yeah, secretly I like it. Like I took great joy in cutting you from your team, Kara. And
I could tell.
And so
I was like right in the, like we didn't prep that. So in the middle, I was like, do I just start crying, or like just be a huge fucking asshole back to you, or do I just take it? And I decided to just take it. You know, sometimes I just got to for the team.
Sometimes you just gotta take it.
I think if we're gonna like really
just gonna
promote
take
this service, it should be a one-way street. It should be like a cameo service, so you don't have to deal with the conversation back and forth.
Like an anonymous number just sends a text message with a video or something.
No,
like,
I want. Okay, I get that, and that would be good too. Like we can just have different cut. Like which package do you want? Do you want the nice cut? Do you want the really mean cut? So that's cool too. But I also would take great joy in ripping people's hearts out on a service when it's not my team.
That's like
because I don't know them. Because
maybe we should alert your wife.
She knows. Mm-hmm. She knows. Speaking of wives. Ooh. That's a big question that we had this week. Was someone wanted to talk about beer league wives? So why don't we go right into it?
I feel like Trish has a lot of thoughts on this.
I have,
and to be clear, the topic was beer league wives, either the wives or girlfriends that play with you, and the ones that watch while you have females on your team.
Yes, and I have a problem with the ones that watch and run their mouths like they play when they don't and probably can't even skate. Those are the wives that I have a big issue with, and like a specific person comes to mind.
Oh, who is it? What's her name?
We're not going to name
Let me
names.
call her. Let me call her and I'm going to cut her. I want to cut her from your team.
Yeah, let's just get her in on this conversation.
You can dial her in. That's fine. I have plenty of words for her. But these are the wives that sit in the stands and talk shit, like yell shit at the females on the ice because they're clearly unhappy that we're playing when they don't skate themselves. Like this woman, lady, girl, no respect to her, would sit in the stands every game and yell shit at my female teammate. Like, oh, don't fucking pass to her. She fucking sucks. And I'm like, excuse you. First of all, she doesn't. Second of all, you come out here. You come out here and skate with us and we'll see how good you do. She was terrible. And like there was one instance where we were hanging out as a team and we were talking about like how much we suck because we weren't doing so great. And she was like, I know exactly what your problem is, but I'm not going to tell you to. And we were like,
what the fuck is it going to do to keep something to yourself like that? Like, what?
She'll go tell the guys. She won't tell us. I was like, you're an idiot and back the fuck up. And she's the kind of person that needs to be involved in everything too. So she was always there. It's like, just go find your own hobby, whatever that may be, and get out of this one because you are nothing but nonsense. And she still goes to games and yells shit that she knows nothing about. And like, just get out of here.
She could be the person that cuts people from teams.
Yeah, clearly.
Sounds like a fucking cunt.
When I first started, I'm a little embarrassed to admit this, but when I first started playing hockey, I guess I'm not embarrassed. I am in it, kind of.
When I first, anyways.
Yeah, when I first started playing hockey, like we literally found people on like Craigslist that had just. Have you ever thought about playing hockey? Like we're trying to start a true beginner team. Have you ever thought about it? Blah blah blah. Well, beginners like to see themselves being recorded on video on the ice, and so I had my wife pull out the video camera and come to a couple of our practices, but her and the other wives just talk shit about how bad we were. And so I couldn't even play the videos back to my team. And here's the deal. Like my wife doesn't play, but she's been around her family's been in hockey, like growing up in Canada, right? So she knows what's going on. And she wasn't sensitive to the fact that, hey, I just got skates from your mom for Christmas like 3 weeks ago. So this is my first time. She didn't care. She didn't pull any punches. And so I could not film my team anymore and play it for them. And so as we kind of got on, like the wives were actually friends, and so they'd sit behind the goal and on one end, and they were always laughing. And finally I like, are you guys like paying attention to the game? She's like, the first 3 or 4 games we did, and we made fun of you guys relentlessly. And now that you guys are here, you're not getting any better, and it just got boring. So now we're just talking about other shit. I'm like, okay, fair enough. Fair enough.
At least they kept it relatively to themselves, though.
Well, except for when they were videotaping us. They were just, it's all out there for the world
accidental.
to see. No, I don't think so. I don't think so. But I guess I've seen some relationships break up over, having girls in the dressing room. And it always blew my mind that you would be so jealous because your boyfriend or husband is in a dressing room with another female, because contrary to popular belief, like it's not like a fucking orgy going on in the dressing rooms. So why, like the girls aren't just running around naked, snapping each other with towels or anything like that.
Well, not when you guys are there.
Yeah. I mean, it's all girls dressing room for sure.
It's like, when it's just girls, but
Yeah. So I guess I don't know. I never understood that. My wife's like, I mean, you've seen tits before. They've seen dick before. No one's really staring at each other because none of you guys are attractive anymore. So what's the big deal? I'm like, oh, okay, nice.
Yeah. And also it's like, we've talked about this before on a previous episode, but it's not like that where everyone's just naked in the same, like, that like the guys kind of turn away or the girl, whatever, you know what I mean? But yeah, I don't know. I've more so been like in your position, Trish, where you are the female on the team, and then there are other like wives and girlfriends and stuff watching. And I haven't really had like a whole lot of drama, but I also just don't like on this podcast. I feel like I'll play it up a little bit, but like, I don't know, my personal life, I'm just like, whatever. It's just like your own insecurities. You know what I mean?
I don't even hear
like if
there's
that's
people
going to break up your relationship, like good, because it wasn't supposed to be a relationship to begin with.
Like I'll be honest, if there's someone in the crowd like chirping, like I never even hear anything. Like I don't pay attention. Like that's with every sport I've ever played. Like
unless it's like extremely obnoxious, then you might hear. But
like once I
or
start
they're
playing,
the only person in the stands, so you can hear them very clearly.
Yeah, like even when I was playing like competitive ball, like when I was playing ball in college, and they would have like the kids, like the college cheering student section would come out. When we were at away games, like I just never saw, like I never saw them. Like it just was, well, I guess that maybe that's one of the things you learn when you grow up playing competitive sports, that you just kind of tune that out. And I just never saw them. And in hockey, like it's not super competitive, but I don't ever hardly see or even remember seeing anyone in the stands doing anything really. Right.
This is a little bit of a side tangent, but just speaking about like listening to stuff when you're playing, just reminded me when I was like a kid, there was one other girl on our team, and she screamed. So we were kids, but she screamed so loud, like because she was so excited that somebody was on a breakaway, that she screamed so loud. But the person on our team that was on the breakaway thought it was the whistle and stopped.
Oh, nice.
I'll
Nice.
never forget that.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
That's
So
was that a lie again, Big Dad? Should I drink or what?
You should drink that anyway.
Yeah. So, I mean, hey, having why the thing that I don't like is, and we've talked about this before with Kara, is when you have wives, girlfriends, boyfriends, whatever on the same team, and they get mad at each other and they bring that into the dressing room. That's really awkward for a lot of people. And luckily, like here recently, we had one. And I'm going to say chick. I hope you don't find that derogatory. We had one chick on our team who was the best player on the team, and her husband was like a beginner player, and she just chirped her husband out of fun, but it was hilarious. She would chirp him every time he did something wrong. Like he was a professional football player, but she was a professional hockey player. And so
that's funny.
She brought him. She's like, I want to get him on the ice. And he, like, you could tell he was an athlete. It took him a while to get his bearings, but she just would fucking chirp the shit out of him, and we'd be on the bench just fucking crying because she's just riding him like. But she'd always say it's out of love. We're giving a hard time. Like he'd be able to chirp me if we were playing football. So what's the big deal?
Right. And on that note, you know how people like that don't like hockey are always like, yeah, all athletes are like, so, have to work so hard to play their game except for hockey. And then you're like, you take a hockey player and put them into any other sport and they're going to figure it out. You take any other athlete and put them into on the ice, they can't do it.
I'll tell you what, hockey was difficult for me because I didn't learn to skate when I was growing up. And so to be able to stand on skates and catch pucks that's really hard. But see, I get offended when people say that about baseball, like, oh, baseball's just old, fat, lazy people. And I have to say, like, listen, if you think about like the physics of hitting a round ball with a round bat that's coming at you at various angle speeds, it's really hard. And so I would always say any sport is hard. Like any sport requires skill. Baseball, like my wife, like people say, oh, dance and cheerleading. But like I've seen what my wife has had to do for dance. And I'm just like, fuck, I couldn't do it. Dance is hard, right? It's a sport. You have to have some kind of skill to do it. And so I always kind of laugh, but I've heard people say that kind of stuff about hockey, and then I always hear like, oh, hockey's stupid. Why would we watch that? And definitely in the South. And I'm like, okay, well, if you like football, well, hockey's the same. It's just way faster and way more fun, way more action.
Exactly, like football in comparison is so fucking boring compared to hockey.
And I try to tell him, and I try to talk shit to him and say, I understand it's because you have a slow mind, and so your mind can't think fast enough to watch people going back and forth.
Nice.
But it's the same thing. You should check it out. But I think you're kind of seeing that kind of hockey is kind of starting to grow in the States. But I think the reason why we're always going to kind of be behind the eight ball in terms of people loving our sport is the barrier to entry with the cost. And I can remember like whenever I first started playing, like I understood there was a cost to the gear and there was a cost to the league fee. But when I was getting these new people in Oklahoma, it was basically like I can only afford the gear or I can afford the league fee. Like I can't pay both like that. That's just way too much. And luckily I had a pretty good support group here in Calgary, a group called Calgary Puck. And they were following our story because Canadians like seeing other people play hockey. And they were like, oh, okay, well, we got a bunch of old gear laying around. We'll just pay to have it all shipped. And so they shipped me like boxes and boxes of gear. And I was just able to outfit like 13 new players to come play. And it was pretty cool.
Amazing.
Yep. So
programs like that are phenomenal.
I think we were going to talk about the whole Barstool and NWHL drama, but because I think there's still going to be, we're like 40 minutes in, and there's still going to be some, I think, events that are going to play out in the next week. Maybe we'll talk about it next week.
Yeah, we can.
A lot of thoughts on that for sure.
We can bring it up. Like, let's just tease it and talk about it.
Yeah, why don't you guys listening, like, let us know your thoughts on it, and then we can actually probably dedicate a lot of next week's episode to this.
Because here's the deal for me, and I do want Trish to kind of explain kind of what's going on because I just see it from a distance. I don't really understand exactly what's going on. I know the CEO came out and said some stuff, and then she said that she's the reason. I don't know. I'm just unsure.
Like super long story short, the CEO of Barstool was like talking about wanting to buy an NWHL team. The NWHL was like, no, we never want any support from like a racist, sexist organization like Barstool. And then that's how all these videos and like replies started.
Now Barstool is potentially starting their own women's league, and two teams may have pulled out of the tournament for the NWHL because of this drama. TBD on that. There's a lot more to come once the tournament wraps up for the Isabel Cup, and I think we're going to see the actual story about why the Connecticut Whale dropped out, because right now we know it's not because of COVID, but nobody's saying why. The Riveters, they say it's because of COVID. I've heard otherwise. I think it is because of the Barstool drama, because the two players that were associated with Barstool by going on the CEO's podcast were from the Rivs. So yeah, there's a lot more there that I think will come out once the tournament actually wraps up. But right now,
real quick, Trish, what's your whose side are you on right now?
I'm not. I think there's legitimacy to both sides. I see where the NWHL is coming from. I think they made a really quick and an irrational decision just to like get people off their back because they're in the middle of this tournament. I think a lot of the Barstool defenders can probably quiet down a little bit because they're not helping women's hockey right now. But there's something in the middle that should be worked out, and the partnership would be really strong, specifically with Erica Nardini, who is the CEO of Barstool. She has been such a staunch supporter of the NWHL and just women's hockey in general. And I think there's something there that should be worked out. And I think the NWHL shot themselves in the foot a little bit by jumping on just like ixnaying that and condemning them right off the bat.
What about you, Kara? What do you
That's
think?
my like
I'm a little bit
snapshot.
opposite. I think that like if you called somebody out for being sexist and racist, and that person that organization is not sexist and racist, but has done those things in the past and has learned from them, I think the first thing you do is be like, you'd apologize and you'd take accountability for it, and you'd say, we've made our mistakes in the past, and if that's not something that we can move forward from after this apology, I'd understand that. But the first thing that Erica did was like, oh, sorry, I'm trying to support you. Like, that's fucking gaslighting, bro.
Yeah.
That's what I really don't like about this. So I agree. Like, I think she has done good things for it. And I think Barstool, with their like small business fund that they're helping a lot of small businesses and restaurants with right now, and what Dave Portnoy is doing is unbelievable. But I do think that there has been sexist and racist things said that have not been
There's
addressed.
still a lot of bad.
Exactly. And like, I mean, I follow Barstool. I fucking got reposted on Barstool Canada. You know what I mean? Like, I consume the content, so I'm not really one to talk. I'm just putting my opinion out there. Like, that's how I would handle it from a business standpoint. But yeah, obviously there's so much that we don't know. But
yeah, I think that's the
I'm
hard
super
part.
curious to see like what comes out, what unfolds, because they already have all the accounts for the BWHL. They've got teams lining up to play. They've got teams that say they would shut down NWHL teams with like a 9-goal margin easy. Like, so curious to see what happens there.
yeah, it's interesting.
I mean, I get the fact, like, I'm not a Barstool hater by any means. I'm definitely not the biggest Barstool supporter. I do like some of their content, but I do believe, especially in the early years, it was a sexist and racist thing, and maybe not by design, but maybe more by not
Dave
addressing
Portnoy's
it.
personality.
Well, I mean, okay, yeah, Dave Portnoy does rub a lot of people the wrong way, but the dude's a genius. Like, and it's a character.
Oh my God,
like,
that is not up for debate. Absolutely.
I get that. He plays a character as well, and I mean, not that much different than Nick, the guy that hates goalies, that doesn't really hate goalies, but he does it because it does get some play. But I think that by not addressing at the first and not saying, hey, this is wrong, and hey, I'll be like 10 years ago, like, we were in a way different world than what we're on now, which on what is considered socially acceptable and culturally acceptable. I get that too. I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying it's wrong, but I'm saying that there is that mentality in some of their followers. And so I get it. And it's very hard when you build that base, and that's kind of the that's kind of the infrastructure of your base. It's hard to turn that around. And that's what you see when someone says something negative about Barstool, and you see the Stoolies react the way they do. That's just how they've been kind of taught to act, and it's hard. And I don't know if it would be a good thing or a bad thing for the NWHL to be involved in. Like someone saying on our chat is, if people are talking about the NWHL, then they are technically helping them. I'm all for exposing the sport to as many people as we can, male, female, black, white, Asian, whatever. I want hockey to be loved by everyone. I believe that it's that sport, but I get not wanting to hitch your wagon to a horse for certain reasons, right?
Well, especially like if they're leaning on their reasoning being racism, sexism. The league was really focused this year on like that racism standpoint.
Yeah,
they were like, there's like the Black women's hockey stuff going on, and they really are trying to launch a lot of their Black players like into the front of everybody. That's not the best way to say that, but they're trying to get exposure in the Black community for hockey, especially like Black women, because the barrier of entry for white women is here, and the barrier to entry for Black women is even higher, because that's just like, it's the same for Black men. So that was a big focus for them this year. So to have a company like Barstool, who maybe has some of that in their past, step in to try and support, it's hard. I think there's a lot to unpack in this situation, and there's going to be even more. And I'm excited to talk more about it, but I think I want to see what happens.
Yeah, and I'd like to I don't even know where to start. I mean, going down that rabbit hole of Barstool and that kind of stuff. But I mean, as a hockey guy, like Spittin' Chicklets is great, even though half the time I can't even understand what the fuck Ari is saying because his accent is so fucking out there. But obviously, I love hearing pro hockey stories. I think you see a lot of that now. A lot of people say, why don't you be more like Spittin' Chicklets with this podcast? I'm like, well, obviously I'm not a pro hockey player, an ex-pro hockey player, and I don't have a $150 million company to market the shit out of us. But if I could, I would. But yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of stuff just with everything, a lot of stuff I like, and there's stuff that I don't like about them, but I'm not going to judge a whole organization and a whole fan base of people based on the negative parts of that fan base and organization. I believe that people can change. I believe organizations can change. But you know, it's just one of those things. It's one of these things where I want to be able to dig into it more before I can speak intelligently on it. And I can't right now, but I am interested in it because I think it could have an impact on the sport of hockey.
Mm-hmm.
So,
well, you will probably get some more news. The final games are Thursday and Friday, I think, this week, airing on NBC Sports. So,
awesome.
I mean, despite what's going on, it's still a worthwhile watch.
Everyone
watch.
watching.
Also, not the first time that it's been aired on NBC.
Yep.
That's fucking cool.
Yeah, that is
it's
really
cool. Great. I think that's a huge stride. Like, whether you're not in support of the NWHL stance right now, or you are, this is a great thing for women's hockey. The exposure is wonderful. So being able to watch it on TV is huge, and I'm going to be trying to tune in. So
yeah, and I think just because I love when people are watching us live and responding to us, I just want to hit a couple of the comments that people are making about this. Do I think Barstool is perfect? Hell no. But I do believe things were said in a completely different political climate, 100%. But cancel culture can't wrap their head around that and see beyond what happened 5 or more years ago to where the company is now. Hey, I get it. Like I just said, 10 years ago, we were in a way different climate politically and socially. So I understand where you're coming from. And they said a lot of people enjoy Barstool content because there's just so much of it, so many types that it covers a pretty large group of people. I'm all for more content. If I could sit down and create content all day, every day, I would. I don't have that capacity yet. One day I will. Maybe not just me, but more people. But yeah, I'm with you. Like I'm not saying Barstool is bad. I don't think any of us is saying Barstool is bad. Obviously, you know, they have a negative things that they've done, just like I've done some negative things in my life. Kara and Trish, they have too. Yeah, I mean, what do you think? Kara got cut from her hockey team today. She did some negative shit, you know?
Wah, wah.
Yeah, there's good and bad to every company, and their bad is just out there a lot more than a lot of other people because there's no filter on Barstool like there is on other companies.
And because you're exposed to how many people, right? Like you're exposed to millions of people every day. So, and I know as well as you guys know, there is no way in this fucking world, doesn't matter if you've got a following of 10 people or 10 million people, you cannot make 100% of those people happy 100% of the time. It's just not possible. But you know what? The great thing about being a human being and living in this world is you can have a difference of opinion with people and you don't have to hate the person that you disagree with. You just say, hey, I'm open and receptive to why you think my opinion is not the opinion for you. I'm not going to push my opinions on you. I'm going to state my opinions. I'll tell you why I believe those are my opinions. And if you don't agree, hey, guess what? We can still be friends.
I thought you were going to say, if you don't agree, then you're wrong.
If you don't agree,
I'm right,
fuck
you're
you.
wrong.
Fuck you. That's what I'm trying to say. But
all right, speaking of agreeing and disagreeing, let's move on to everybody's favorite segment. Would you rather?
Wait. We have a couple questions we have to answer. That Kara came on and she asked for some questions from the people. You can't ask the people questions and then not put them out on the show. And one question.
We talked about wives. That was one of the questions.
We talked about wives, which
one
is the
question,
main one that we were going to
talk
about.
One question.
There was also a question as to whether Kara was single or not.
Single as fuck.
And I think anybody that has listened to the show already.
Yeah, listen to the show. Don't even tell them. Listen to the show.
Okay, listen to the show. Hey, what's a better rivalry? What's a better rivalry? World Junior USA versus Canada or Barstool versus NWHL?
That's good.
That's what someone asked. So, all right,
Canada versus U.S. because it's longer running.
for sure.
There's more history there.
For sure. And we all know who the greatest hockey playing team in the world is right now. USA. Okay, go.
Again, congratulations on your recent win.
Cheers.
This is called being a gracious loser. Look it up, Nick. So the most liked comment, I said the top comment or two will get featured. So we already talked about the wives and girlfriends. There's a couple funny ones about what are wow, Kara, English. Let's fucking get it together.
Too much beer.
Rewind. Okay. We know Nick's guilty pleasure is Eagle gloves. What's the girls? My guilty pleasure has nothing to do with hockey.
What is it? Tell us.
I don't know. I haven't thought about it.
Yeah, I couldn't even pin one down. I actually, when I read that, was like, oh, I should probably think of something. Couldn't think of anything.
I know, me neither.
Not so like ashamed of anything that I do.
Okay,
or
what is something that our listeners don't know about you? Just something. Something random.
Let's talk about that next time because I don't want there to be dead air on the podcast.
Yeah.
How much does Nick hate having to deal with 15,000 assholes and like 2 or 3 decent people?
I even love the assholes. I mean, I think everyone has their good qualities. A lot of the times it's like running an adult daycare a little bit in that group. But hey, I was
really wanting to take that sexual. Like Nick loves assholes, so he's an ass guy.
I am.
Butt stuff.
I love butt stuff. I think that I mean, I love the group. I love what it brings, and like you said, you can never make 100% of people happy. I realize that, and you just kind of have to go with the flow. And there are some people that I wish were not in the group, but I think kicking them just because I personally have a problem.
Do you
with
want me
them
to cut them from our team?
I was gonna call them
from our 15,000 member team.
I think I think that if I cut them just because I personally didn't like them makes me a little hypocritical and kind of a shithead. And so like I realize that not everyone's going to see eye to eye all the time. So I just deal with it. I think that for the most part, the group is great. Maybe we are a bunch of assholes, but I know 100% of us butt babies, butt pieces babies. Of shit.
Everyone's a butt baby.
The actual top question, the top liked answer to my question was, why do my ankles touch the ice when I skate? And that is a damn good question that I ask myself every motherfucking day. And I don't know, but I mean, maybe you can come teach me how to skate properly.
Who was that? Was that Big Dad?
Of course it was. Who the fuck do you think it was?
Big Dad.
Absolutely.
Kara, what is the new word that you learned from this question thread?
Oh my God. Where is it? Twat waffle.
That's a good question.
Twat is already one of my favorite words. So adding waffle to it, like let's add waffle to everything. Can you say like cunt waffle?
Yep.
Fucking
you can now.
Waffle? Oh fuck yeah, I love it.
Dick
We're
waffle.
Here for this.
Dong waffle.
Who was it that sent that?
Dong waffle.
But balloon knot waffle.
No, that's not as
good. Someone said in the thing that balloon knots need love too, and I'm down with it. They do. Balloon knots need love.
That's really funny.
They need it.
And then one of the most controversial ones that got quite a few comments was, how come Goofy can talk and Pluto can't? That has nothing to do with beer league whatsoever.
Yeah, no, it 100%
no,
does.
but that's a question.
They're both dogs, but one is meant to be like a pet and one is meant to be like a main character. That's I think. Yeah.
Well, I think that I don't think Goofy's actually a dog. I think Goofy just looks like a dog, because if we're gonna say animals can't talk, then how can Mickey Mouse talk as well and Donald Duck?
No, but pet, not animal.
Exactly.
I don't know. I think
this is like a dog to dog comparison.
My dog can talk. You ask
to you.
Yeah, what's on the top of the house?
That
and
might
he says,
be a
roof.
you problem.
We do.
That sounds like an issue, not an ishme.
Okay, I'm just saying. I just think.
I've never heard that before.
Okay.
No, it's good. Add that one to your vocabulary.
That's going in the bank.
There were actually some great comments, so that's a good thing. We should just do the Ask Kara every week and let people ask you some questions.
I'll toss it in every week. You guys start brainstorming, start thinking about it, because I'll put it in probably next Monday.
Well, let's go with the Would You Rathers. We've been on an hour here.
Let's do it.
Let's go with the Would You Rathers. I got a couple.
We've been prepared. Not that we know these, but we've been prepared that they're like fucking off the handle. So I'm ready.
I'm nervous.
Not really off the handle, but I did source one, and I think it's going to make me look like a creep, but it really didn't come from me. But I'm not going to start with that one.
Oh God, is it going to be like who would you rather hook up with in this in between us or something?
Well, I would win all the time. Would you rather be in
The
debt?
most handsome of us all.
Would you rather be in debt $100,000 or never be able to make more than $3,500 a month, which by my incredible math skills is $42,000 a year?
Debt.
You would rather be in debt $100,000 right now. US dollars.
Sure. So like what, 130, 40K Canadian?
I think I'm going to go with you too. I would much rather be in debt because I think I can make enough to pull myself out. If you're at 42,
because debt is debt, and it can obviously you have to pay interest on it, but it sits there and like you pay it off, and then you can make way more than 42 grand a year.
Some people
pay it off.
And I'm not saying $42,000 isn't a lot of money. That's a good living for people.
You said, what would you rather though?
Yeah,
so I'm I'd rather have potential to make more and then pay it off.
Okay, perfect.
Might take you 10 years, but I'd rather do that. And then the next 10 years, save up 100 grand. You know, I don't know.
Yep. Trish?
I think debt makes me too anxious. I would rather just like have a salary cap. I don't care. I don't need to make money, whatever.
Just live within your means.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, hey, it's always good when you have people that don't agree. Okay. Would you rather get paid to have sex or have to pay to have sex?
Get paid.
Oh, you fucking hookers.
Well, you didn't say like
OnlyFans.
You could be like dating someone and getting paid to have sex. I don't want to date someone and pay them to have sex.
Okay, well, just in general, hey, that wasn't the one. That was just an extra one. Would you rather go back to age 5 with everything you know now, or would you rather be the same age you are right now but know everything that your future self will learn?
That your future self
will learn.
Would?
Yeah, or will learn.
Oh my God. I think that's a lot to put on a 5-year-old, so I would say the latter.
Yeah, that kind of ruins the magic of being 5. But then you could like set yourself up for a lot of success.
I would much rather be 5.
But at what expense though?
Yeah, you like lose all that childhood fun.
Yeah. And then you'd think that like I don't know if you guys have ever talked to psychics or anything like that, but like you'd think that you have to be on some certain path. So then is it actually what happened for you, or was it just a self-fulfilling prophecy? Like
I think maybe when you lose your innocence, but you also realize that you don't have to worry about certain things now, so you could go ahead and be. I would much rather go back to 5. Mainly one.
Would you realize that as a 5-year-old though? Because it's like you know everything, but do you have the emotional like capacity that we do now?
That's a good question. But I think that like
Not
for me, like I'm afraid of dying. Like we're coming up now, like here in 18 days on like the 16th anniversary of my first wife passing away. And I don't like to deal with death. So I would much rather go back and be 5 and know that I have this long, I have another 35 extra years now. That's what I would want. But, like you said, you can also set yourself up. Like there was a lot of mistakes I made in between being 5 years old and now that I think that I could rectify. But I guess the flip side is if I know everything that my future self would know, well, I could set myself up. Like I'm not old where I'm going to die, of old age in the next few years. So I could still set myself up if that's what I was worried about. But just because I don't like to deal with death, I'm not afraid to die. I just don't want to. I'd like to go back to 5. And I'd like to have a full head of hair again. That would be really, really nice. And I can guarantee you, if I ever make it, if this ever blows up and I'm just filthy rich, I'm buying hair plugs, just like Dave Portnoy. And I'm going to have a full set of hair. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to buy another bald guy hair plugs just so I can have a friend and we can be like, we're not bald anymore, bro. Boom.
Pay it forward. I
Exactly.
love that.
Nice.
Exactly. Okay.
Wow.
Are you okay? This one is not mine. Oh wait, did we ask? We all got through that one, right?
We all got through it.
Mm-hmm.
This one's not mine. This one's not mine.
United.
This came from a rando. Okay.
We understand this is not your question. Just ask it.
We understand this is your question, and you really don't.
I'm ready. I'm ready. Come on, let's go.
I mean, listen. Hey, listen. This maybe it's as bad as fucking your cousin. I don't know. All right, But here we go. First off, they wanted me to say, whatever you choose, you have to do it. That's what they told.
That's
No,
not the
they-
rules of the
they
game.
That's
said-
not how this fucking game works, boys. Look it up.
Theoretical
that's-
game.
That's here we go. Would you rather show your tits right now on this live stream or to every single person in the BLPA after the stream?
Show my tits.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, just they said
Not
you
gonna happen.
hey, I'm just saying
Whoever.
they said you had to do it. I'm just wasn't mine. So there you go. Did you ready to show your tits?
If this was
Why?
only live stream and it wasn't being posted anywhere, I'd be like, ah, you know what? You know what's really fucking dangerous is that like you get a couple drinks in me and I'll do anything. Like literally. So I was on a, and my friends know this about me.
Literally.
And so literally. And so I was on a bachelorette. We flew into a different city and we get in the limo and we're like driving downtown. It's like fucking 10 o'clock in the morning on a Thursday afternoon, or sorry, 10 o'clock in the morning on a Thursday. And there's like rush hour traffic driving. We're like going for breakfast, but we'd had drinks on the plane and like there's some champagne in the limo and stuff. And one of my best friends, she fucking knows me. There's like this car of boys that pulled up. They're like young boys, like 18, 20 maybe. And they're, yeah. And they're like, my friend's like, Kara, show me your tits. It's like, okay. So roll down the limo window, just like, and I'm not lying, I swear to God, for all the fucking haters that are going to be saying that in the comments. But yeah, let's drink just
Drink
in
a
case.
beer.
But roll down the window. I'm like, woo! There's a few girls in the bachelorette party that I'd never met before, and they were like right beside me. So like my tits are just fucking flapping in the wind outside the car window.
I literally thought when you said it's young boys, I thought we were hearing a story about how you got on the sex offenders registry.
Oh God, no! Oh God,
Oh,
no!
no,
Absolutely
Not a fun joke.
That wasn't fun. I was just saying. I thought she was going to say they were really young. I knew where she was going. I knew she was going to say she pulled out her boobs. But I thought she was going to, when she said they're really young, I was like, oh no, this story is going to take a negative turn here. But
no, I just mean like we're 30 and they were like 20.
Okay.
So they were like, just like fucking driving to school or something on a Thursday morning. And we were just like,
oh man, what?
Look at
Can
my
you
tits!
just out, just
You like
hey,
made their year though.
yeah.
Oh, 100%.
I mean, think about it. You're just out. You're going to class. Hey, I got myself a 9:30 class here,
Right?
and some chick just pulled up and showed me her titties. That
Like,
would be
you're
the best day
welcome,
ever.
boys.
So
That's a service.
So we've learned a couple things. We've learned Kara has floppy titties, and two, at any draft experience she comes to, she just needs a couple drinks and she'll do anything, literally. So, and guess what? We give her like 3 free beers at least. So just saying, if you guys want to come meet Kara at one of our draft experiences, sign up now. We're not going to tell you which one she's coming to.
I don't really like where this is going.
It could be any one of them. It could be any draft experience. So you just gotta sign up. It could be Ann Arbor. It could be Omaha. It could be any of them. Sign up for all of them. Okay. Last one, the real set, because we always have the one sex one. I know that one, the last one was a sex one, but a one for me. But
wait, before we do this, really quickly, because we know we're going to take 5 minutes to debate it. We don't have a fight liney cut tonight. So if you guys listening want to toss a couple suggestions into the comments that we can all choose from, Nick can pick one and we can do it while we debate this next. Would you rather? Go ahead.
Okay. Would you rather know every time your parents are having sex, or have
them know every time you do? No.
Or have them know every time you're having sex?
Okay, wait. Here's a question. My parents aren't together, so they're not having sex.
My parents aren't either.
So every time that each of them has sex, I have to know?
That when you're running the fun. Every time that,
or we just pretend
We
that
love
they're
a
together.
technicality.
I mean, let's just be 100% honest here. Do you want to hear every time your dad's having sex and your mom's having sex, even with different people? Because you're getting double the alerts. You're getting double the alerts, basically.
I would rather have them know, because then I'm not scarred.
But like, what if it's
Sorry,
like they
Mom
send a
and Dad,
message and it's like beep beep. Trish is getting railed right now, and like your mom's
Is that
like,
how it's gonna come through?
maybe, I don't know, but your mom's like, oh, wow, my baby girl's getting railed. All right.
I would just tell her to block whatever that is. I don't want to know. I would rather like protect myself in that situation.
And it's every time.
Yeah, I
It's not just
understand where you're
sex.
coming from
It's
there.
every sexual interaction you have.
I think I would rather know rather than have them know about me.
Yeah, because they would think. I mean, I think that people would be like, they think bad about, like, oh wow, look how promiscuous you are, or lack thereof, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, Kara, can you imagine your dad being like, oh yeah, it's been like a year since you had sex. What's going on? Wouldn't that be
With me?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Do you know what was so Trish is just like dying right now. No, I remember I was like 17 and I had this boyfriend. And I forget the context of the conversation, but I was like working for my dad's company at the time in the summer. And he said something to me about, well, yeah, Kara, and then you'd have your first sexual experience. And I just wanted to fucking dig a hole and fucking bury myself in it. And I was like, you are so disgusting and so embarrassing. Like, I just don't want to. Like, I don't want to talk to you.
Had to walk away.
Yeah, I would rather know. I'd just rather know. I don't want them to know.
I mean, because but if it's every sexual interaction, so like even masturbation, like it's gonna come up beep beep.
Oh, it's every interaction.
Yeah, both ways.
But does it show details? So Big Dad just threw a little example into the chat. Does it show any details, or is it just like beep beep sexual interaction?
Yeah, both. It has to show details. Like they know. Like beep beep. Like Kara's masturbating right now. Or Kara's dad,
right now, like currently. Yeah, that's why you can't see my hands. Like, you know what I mean?
Kara's dad's jacking it right now. Like, So I think
that's bad. That's bad either way.
Yeah. Well, that's why it's a good would you rather.
I think I'm sticking with my answer. I think I don't.
I'm gonna stick with mine too. What's your answer?
Sorry, Mom and Dad.
I think. I think. I don't want to know when. I don't want my parents knowing about me, right? So it's just like, they're old. I mean, how much sexual interaction?
I feel like I could like block it out. I could be like, okay, whatever. I'm like,
here's
like,
the thing.
That's true.
Like what I just said is how much sex could they having? Like what if they were just fucking? What if they were doing it all the time, right?
STDs run rampant around nursing homes because old people are just getting it on all the time because there's not much else to do. So you better rethink that.
Probably not these days because of, our friend COVID.
Yeah, in normal time.
I don't know.
Normal times, absolutely.
But you know what? Like I think, speaking of that, like I think some old people just don't give a shit either way, even about COVID. Like they're just like, you know what? I lived my life. Like my wife's grandma is like that. Not about the sex stuff, but she's just like, I'm 84. Like I lived. If I catch it, that's
yeah.
So. Okay, let's end this with a fight liney cut.
We just got a really
what do we got?
One.
Muhammad Ali, Bruce Lee, Jackie Chan.
Oh, fuck.
So I'll go first because I already got it. Like I am probably, I'm going to fight Jackie Chan because I think he's probably the least dangerous out of those, but I'm going to fight him in my eagle gloves. So I will also have dangerous hands. I'm probably going to liney with Muhammad Ali because I think he's a bad man. And I guess I'm going to cut Bruce Lee. I don't know a ton about Bruce Lee other than he was obviously an incredible martial artist. Does he know English? I don't know if Bruce Lee knew English or if he was actually from...
What does that have to do with anything?
Because I'm cutting him because if he doesn't know English, I would never be able to talk to him or understand what's going on. So that's mine. Can you imagine getting punched by Muhammad Ali in his prime?
No. So I'm thinking like I'd either have him on my line or cut him.
Yeah. What if he cuts?
I think I would do the same.
What if you cut him and he beats the hell out of you because he's mad that you cut him?
Well, maybe I would get in my car and fucking drive far, far away. I don't know.
Yeah. Leave the country. That's when Kara skips the border.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. No, I think my answer is the same as yours, Nick, for mostly the same reasons, except for the English-speaking one. I just don't know that much about Bruce Lee. So,
well, I mean, I had to have a reason to cut him, and I think it's because he didn't know English, but maybe he did. Well, Bruce Lee was from California, I was like,
I'm pretty sure he's like English speaking. I would have said I'm like 99%, but I just don't know that much about him. So I think I would cut him.
I didn't know there was a California in Asia too. That's crazy.
Wow.
Speaking
I
of
think I
racism, okay.
Wasn't racist. I just
okay,
thought I
Barstool
thought he
over
was
here.
I thought he was from like an Asian country. Like that's how much little I knew about him.
I'm
Like so
yeah, I don't
I didn't
know
even know
That's
that.
much
like saying
about
that
the
every
origins
black
of
person's from
anything.
Africa. That's
No.
like really fucking.
I literally thought by seeing what I know of Bruce Lee and the movies that I've seen clips of,
I understand.
I thought
I
it was.
understand.
It wasn't like I just thought, you know. Anyway, he was born in San Francisco, which is crazy.
Okay.
Big Bruce Lee fans in our chat.
I'm going to he was born in San Francisco. I just looked it up. He died in Hong Kong. Rest in peace, Bruce Lee.
What did he die of? Was it like dubious things that was it like a dubious thing, or was it in like a movie or something?
No, because he was young.
Yeah, I remember him young, but I can't remember how he died. I'm sure the person in this chat's gonna let us know because he's a huge.
It's Randy that's popping down these Bruce Lee
knows.
facts.
From a brain, what the fuck is a edema? Brain edema? Edema? I don't know how to pronounce that word. EDEMA.
Yeah,
a brain edema.
I think it's edema.
That's edema for sure.
Possibly caused by a reaction to a prescription painkiller.
This is the weirdest headline that I've seen. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, why Bruce Lee would have loved Cobra Kai.
All right, what are you going? What are you going, Trish?
Let's end this. What are you going with, Trish?
I was trying to avoid actually answering. I think I'm going to. I think I'm going to liney Jackie Chan. Actually, because I think he'd be fun. He seems like a fun guy, and that's like really what I need on my line.
Yeah.
Fun or feisty, and I think he might have both of those qualities. And then I'm going to fight Bruce Lee, even though he'd absolutely kick my ass. But hopefully he'd be nice about it because he's from San Francisco. A lot of hippies there. Maybe he'd like take a little pity on me, and that would be okay.
Maybe.
And then cut Muhammad Ali because I don't want to die from getting punched.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Someone just asked F, Marry, Kill. You know, where our fight line cut came from.
Oh no.
Boy
George. Our game here.
Boy George, Gary Glitter, or Freddie Mercury. I don't know who Gary Glitter is myself. I don't know. I kind of like Freddie Mercury. I like his, his artistic side of things. So I don't know. Maybe that's for next week. We can look up who Gary Glitter is and talk about who we'd F, Marry, Kill.
He's a bad man, so we're not gonna talk about him.
Gary Glitter's a bad man? Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Possession of child pornography, sexual abuse. So we are not going to include him, or he's an automatic kill.
Auto kill. All right, guys. Hey, thank you guys very much for hanging out with us and listening. If you've downloaded this, you're not joining us live, but you can find us live every Tuesday around 7:15 Mountain Time in our Facebook group, the Beer League Players Association. We really, 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 really appreciate everyone that's here interacting with us, listening to our funny stories, drinking every time Kara lies. I think everyone's drunk here on the chat right now. But ladies, anything to talk about or say to the fans before we let them go?
No, I just would say thank you guys for participating and picking some topics for us to talk about and helping us out with the Fight Line Cut.
Yep. Buy some merch.
Let us know if you liked being involved like that, because we will do it all the time.
For sure. Buy some merch, beerleagueplayers.com. Come to some tournaments, tournamentcompany.com. Follow all our stuff. And hey, we'll